Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm going to read Psalms 78 from the Tanakh. Tanakh is the Jewish translation, and it is an acronym. T stands for Torah, which is the law. N stands for Nevi'im, which is the prophets, and K stands for Ketuvim, which is the writings. Psalms is a part of the writings. This is Psalm 78 from the Tanakh, which, by the way, is the second longest psalm in the Bible. A maskil of Asaph. Give ear, my people, to my teaching. Turn your ear to what I say. I will expound a theme, hold forth on the lessons of the past, things we have heard and known that our fathers have told us. We will not withhold them from their children, telling the coming generation the praises of the Lord and his might and the wonders he performed. He established a decree in Jacob, ordained a teaching in Israel, charging our fathers to make them known to their children, that a future generation might know, children yet to be born, and in turn tell their children, that they might put their confidence in God and not forget God's great deeds, but observe his commandments and not be like their fathers, a wayward and defiant generation, a generation whose heart was inconstant, whose spirit was not true to God. Like the Ephraimite bowmen who played false in the day of battle, they did not keep God's covenant. They refused to follow his instruction. They forgot his deeds and the wonders that he showed them. He performed marvels in the sight of their fathers in the land of Egypt, the plain of Zon. He split the sea and took them through it. He made the water stand like a wall. He led them with a cloud by day, and throughout the night by the light of fire. He split rocks in the darkness and gave them drink as if from the great deep. He brought forth streams from a rock and made them flow down like river. But they went on sinning against him, defying the Most High in the parched land. To test God was in their mind when they demanded food for themselves. They spoke against God, saying, "Can God spread a feast in the wilderness?" True, he struck the rock and waters flowed, streams gushed forth, but can he provide bread? Can he supply his people with meat? The Lord heard, and he raged. Fire broke out against Jacob. Anger flared up at Israel because they did not put their trust in God, did not rely on his deliverance. So he commanded the skies above, he opened the doors of heaven and rained manna upon them for food, giving them heavenly grain. Each man ate a hero's meal. He sent them provision in plenty. He set the east wind moving in heaven and drove the south wind by his might. He rained meat on them like dust, winged birds like the sands of the sea, making them come down inside his camp around his dwelling place. They ate till they were sated. He gave them what they craved. They had not yet wearied of what they craved. The food was still in their mouths when God's anger flared up at them. He slew their sturdiest, struck down the youth of Israel. Nonetheless, they went on sinning and had no faith in his wonders. He made their days end in futility, their years in sudden death. When he struck them, they turned to him. They sought God once again. They remembered that God was their rock, God Most High, their Redeemer. Yet they deceived him with their speech, lied to him with their words. Their hearts were inconstant toward him. They were untrue to his covenant. But he, being merciful, forgave iniquity and would not destroy. He restrained his wrath time and again. He did not give full vent to his fury, for he remembered that they were but flesh, a passing breath that does not return. How often did they defy him in the wilderness? Did they grieve him in the wasteland? Again and again they tested God, vexed the Holy One of Israel. They did not remember his strength or the day he redeemed them from the foe, how he displayed his signs in Egypt, his wonders in the plain of Zon. He turned their rivers into blood. He made their waters undrinkable. He inflicted upon them swarms of insects to devour them, frogs to destroy them. He gave their crops over to grubs. They produced their produce to locusts. He killed their vines with hail, their sycamores with frost. He gave their beasts over to hail, their cattle to lightning bolts. He inflicted his burning anger upon them, wrath, indignation, trouble, a band of deadly messengers. He cleared a path for his anger. He did not stop short of slaying them, but gave them over to pestilence. He struck every firstborn in Egypt, the first fruits of their vigor in the tents of Ham. He set his people moving like sheep, drove them like a flock in the wilderness. He led them in safety. They were unafraid. As for their enemies, the sea covered them. He brought them to his holy realm, the mountain his right hand had acquired. He expelled nations before them, settled the tribes of Israel in their tents, allotting them their portion by the line. Yet they defiantly tested God Most High and did not observe his decrees. They fell away, disloyal like their fathers. They played false like a treacherous bow. They vexed him with their high places. They incensed him with their idols. God heard it and was enraged. He utterly rejected Israel. He forsook the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent he had set among them. He let his might go into captivity, his glory into the hands of the foe. He gave his people over to the sword. He was enraged at his very own. Fire consumed their young men. Their maidens remained unwed. Their priests fell by the sword, and their widows could not weep. The Lord awoke as from a sleep, like a warrior shaking off wine. He beat back his foes, dealing them lasting disgrace. He rejected the clan of Joseph. He did not choose the tribe of Ephraim. He did choose the tribe of Judah, Mount Zion, which he loved. He built his sanctuary like the heavens, like the earth that he established forever. He chose David, his servant. He took him from the sheepfolds and brought him from minding the nursing ewes to tend his people, Jacob, Israel, his very own. He tended them with blameless heart. With skillful hands, he led them.